on this episode of The Blueprint.
I mean,
you can't have anything nice.
You can't have a damn thing nice. It's actually 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because our trip has not really gotten better. This morning did not go very well. We need a plan. We're back here at our Oklahoma property, and we're kind of starting the second half of summer preparations. We're like 5 or 6 weeks from opening day, and we're having a lot of problems, to put it lightly. We started this, well, after turkey season, we started our deer season prep by buying a 3-ton grain silo bumper pull so we could have bulk corn out here so we could feed all summer and all that stuff.
Inventory, all that.
Yeah. And we filled, well, I mean, we've used maybe a third of it. So we came in July, and when we got here, the hogs had busted open the door, busted in there, and spilt about half of what was left of our corn, and it was in a pile under the feeder. We spent hours shoveling it in buckets and back in there, and we backed it up to these old silo poles, and we thought we had it where they couldn't get it, and they have emptied it completely. We have no corn left. So out of 3 tons of corn, we've probably fed a ton of it, and the rest of it has been eaten by pigs right here in the barnyard. And from the looks of our cameras, most of our feeder sites are being overran by pigs, and we can't get that many, so the hog problem's bad. And so now we're here. We got about a month, a little more than a month before the opening day, and we've got to go pull all of our cameras, probably pull some of our feeders, and just start over and figure out how we're going to hunt, because we can't feed and get inventory of deer and kind of make any decisions on that, because the hogs are really bad, and the more we feed, the more they're going to stay in here and the worse it's going to get. So I don't really know what we're going to do, but we're really behind the 8 ball. So what we're about to do, we have a tractor tomorrow, so we're going to mow, kind of just mow a bunch of access roads and stuff that we're going to use to get around the property, but we're also going to mow our food plot sites so they're ready to plant in September. And we're going to move all these cameras out and kind of make a new game plan and figure out what we're going to do. I'm really frustrated. This really sucks. So when we were here in July, we did do some other stuff we did put some cameras in some new spots, at least have that to look forward to, that shouldn't be affected by this. And we started mapping out these food plot sites. So like I said, we're just gonna mow them tomorrow, and that'll have them ready for whenever we get the right weather in September. We'll come in here and plant them. And so that's kind of where we're at. This is the very not fun part, and it's 106 degrees here on August, whatever, the 20 something, I don't know. So we're fixing to go pull all our cameras out of the woods and start over. I mean,
you can't have anything nice.
You can't have a damn thing nice. And I mean, I could hook up to it and take it to town and fill it back up, but
for them to do that again?
Even if they didn't do it again, everywhere we put it, they're just,
yeah.
I'm back in Louisiana. Let's go. I mean, if there's deer hitting that mineral with any regularity, we'll just bring it back.
Well, it's not going to be with regularity because there's only 100 pictures.
Well, I mean, if they're once or twice a week.
Yeah.
You know, if there's deer hitting it once or twice a week, and it's deer and not hogs.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is a bedding area and they're going between bedding area and bedding area, this is a spot to hunt. Got that much corn left in it. But I'm afraid that, I mean, I was getting pictures. I was getting pictures here till that camera battery went dead maybe a week and a half or so ago, and it was mostly hogs.
Mm-hmm.
There was one shooter, but every time I got his picture, he was over there, like in that cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that old deer that's really tall. That is definitely a shooter. I mean, he ain't no trophy, but he's old.
Yeah.
And they were together and they were coming from time to time. There's been a lot of hogs too, so.
Gotta love it though. Just trying to shoot a measly old 4-year-old, you know.
But whatever did it, maybe we'll have pictures of it because the camera, they didn't bother the camera.
Now what we're gonna have is pictures of his limb for about, you know, the entirety of.
Yeah, because that's falling.
Yeah, right in the camera view. Oh yeah, water in there and everything, man.
Get the whole gamut right here, buddy.
Just go ahead and make a wallet for him, you know. Get it started.
I'm glad I spent so much time working on this feeder. Getting it back up and running, you know. Here's some of the legs. We need a plan. A new plan. I mean, you gotta give them credit. They're committed.
They are. It might be worse than the ones in Louisiana. Just the utter destruction they've caused in the past month. It's kind of impressive.
Look, there's a leg all the way over there. Well, we're back at our Airbnb and we're going through all the cards that we pulled. We've got 5 or 6 good-looking bucks. A couple that look really good and are fairly recent over the last week or so. But we had a pretty tough day. We've had a lot of issues with hogs, and we're kind of, tomorrow we're going to pick up a tractor in the morning and we're going to go mow a bunch of stuff and kind of get ready for our food plot planning. But we're also going to kind of redo things. We've decided that we've lost a ton of corn because the hogs got into our silo and basically emptied it and ate almost all of it.
Literally a ton. More than a ton.
Probably 2 tons. It's insane. And then they've really kind of messed up some of our feeder sites. So we're kind of thinking that we've got to cut back on the feeder situation because it's just attracting more hogs and it's holding them on the property. And that's just going to make us preparing for deer hunting even harder. So tomorrow we're going to get as much tractor work as we can done. We've identified 3 different feeder sites on the north, kind of in the middle, and on the far south end. And these are going to be sites that we can keep running without too much trouble. And don't expect this to be a major problem with the hogs like we've been having. So we're going to do that, and we're also going to kind of revisit some of these places. We put cameras in the woods on some trails and some areas we thought we might catch some deer, and we did get some pretty decent deer on camera. So we're going to start trying to follow up on that and just kind of strategize this whole thing a little bit differently. We got a month until the season opens. We're going to be back in a couple weeks to plant food plots, and after tomorrow we'll have all of our roads and our access trails and all that stuff kind of mowed out, and it'll be a lot easier for us to get around. So it was kind of it's a better ending to a bad first day because we do have some decent deer on camera, but we got a lot of work to do. So we'll see you in the morning. We'll be getting on the tractor and putting in the work, and hopefully we don't have a heat stroke because it's like 105 degrees. So we'll see you tomorrow. All right, so it's not the next morning. It's actually 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because our trip has not really gotten better. This morning did not go very well. We showed up to get the tractor that we had reserved to rent to come do some mowing and all that, and they didn't reserve us a tractor. And the one they had on site, the fine gentleman there couldn't figure out how to hook up the 3-point, and I tried to help him only to find out that he didn't even have the parts to do it with, so we don't have a tractor. And so we spent the morning trying to figure this out. So here's what we come up with. Yesterday, we showed you kind of the crap that we're dealing with, and Colin and I were looking at the cards last night, and there's obviously deer around. There's a few decent deer, but how are we going to get from there to October the 1st? And we've decided that if we keep this 3-ton feeder full of corn sitting here in the middle of this property, and we keep these feeders running to the amount that we have been, all we're doing is holding the hogs, and that's making it really hard for us to inventory and figure the deer out. And so here's our plan. So this morning, after the whole tractor incident, we went to town. We've got trace mineral, Analogics mineral salt, some liquid mineral, some 12% sweet feed, which if you're familiar with horses and cattle, that's what you would buy for your horses, but I've been feeding it to deer forever, and they love it. And it's a much cheaper version than a lot of your fancy sweet attractant mixes. So, pro tip, go buy a 50-pound bag of sweet feed for $12.99. And some corn, bag corn. So what we're gonna do is we've got a plan for 10 different locations where we're going to do mineral sites. We're gonna sweeten those mineral sites up with just a little bit of sweet feed, corn, and stuff like that, and put cameras on those. And one of our mineral sites that we started earlier in the back is where we had the most buck pictures from the cameras we checked last night, so that's a positive. And we've got 3 feeders that we think are pretty sturdy and as foolproof as we can be with our hog situation. We're gonna put one on the very north end of the property, one right in the center of the property, and we already have one set up literally on the back line, south line of the property. Our property is 1,100 acres, but it's longer than it is wide. So we're gonna have a feeder on the north end, the south end, and right in the middle. We're gonna keep those running all year. We're gonna put standalone cameras on them so that we don't have to deal with cellular situations on a feeder, because they take a lot of pictures, and we're having trouble with that because we don't have great cell signal out here. So all of those things, that's what we're fixing to do. And then our friend Matt from 180 Outdoors and L2 Realty, who helped us lease this property, is he's gonna come tomorrow with his tractor and help us get things mowed. So for today, we're fixing to go show y'all these sites. Now, these sites are probably going to translate, at least a lot of them, they're going to translate into the first places that you see us hunting early in the season, because some of them are where we have been getting deer pictures, and kind of we're starting to hone in a little bit. But we're fixing to we're taking at least 3 feeders out of the equation. We're moving one from a spot to the middle of the property, and we're fixing to feed a lot less corn. And we're going to kind of really hone in and try, hopefully kind of work around the hog situation, because it's causing us a lot of problems. And then tomorrow we will mow everything and get our food plots ready, and we'll plant food plots in September. So that's your update. Now we're going to go get in the side-by-side and see how many more problems we can have over the next 5 hours. We're going to show you bits and pieces of a lot of these different spots we're setting up, but I'm going to take a minute to kind of explain more thoroughly on this first spot before I get really hot and tired talking to the camera what the plan is. So we got a trace mineral block. It's mineral salts and other stuff. We've got this sweet and salty mineral attractant made by Analogics, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to put some of this. We've got a liquid mineral. We got some sweet feed and corn. We're just putting a little bit of this around the site to just sweeten it up to kind of get it started. And then as we come every couple weeks throughout, getting closer to the season and through the season, we'll come sweeten these spots up. Essentially, if we put 300 or 400 pound feeder full of corn, and it stays there and it throws corn 2 or 3 times a day or even once a day, and it stays there, then, you know, that site, first of all, I personally don't believe that big deer, I think bigger, more mature deer are more leery of feeders, and I also think that that situation is more attractive. Hogs are still going to come by, especially when if we throw fresh corn around this or something like that. They're going to come by and hit it, but the deer are going to hit it. They need the minerals. The hogs aren't going to bother this nearly as much, and hopefully these spots will establish themselves to where we can keep an inventory on what deer are around. We're not really going to hunt over these spots. This is going to be a food plot. All of this field behind us is going to be a food plot. We're going to move that feeder out of here. We're going to mow this. We're going to plant this. So we're going to be hunting here. We've got a very established trail. So the idea is to get a spot where, not necessarily on a day-to-day basis like deer that were coming to a feeder, but you know, maybe once or twice a week, but on some pattern, weather dependent and all that, we can expect to get pictures of most of the deer in this area coming through, hitting this mineral from time to time. And it's just really easy and affordable, and not a lot of work and trouble for us to just keep this fresh, keep the cameras running on it. So that's the idea. That's what we're going to do all around the property today. This is our first spot. We're on the very north end. We got a big cedar thicket over here. We got big hardwoods between here and our big CRP over there. I think this is going to be a really good spot. And then again, of course, over the next month, there's going to be about an acre food plot right here growing behind us. So that's the plan. Matt helped us lease this property, and I've known, how long has it been? 12, 13 years?
Something like that.
The first time I ever came to the Midwest hunting, I was doing a little online retail, outdoor retail thing with a friend of mine, and we met Matt and his brother Devin, and they were kind of Lafayette or somewhere down in Louisiana, and they were kind of early on in their venture of 180 Outdoors, and they were doing guided hunts. So the first time I ever came and hunted in the Midwest was we met up that spring. We planned a trip. We came and hunted with Matt, and yeah, I've been coming and hunting turkeys and deer different, and I've actually hunted here. I did some media work for you on this property when you first got it, or some of this property around here, and since then you've started your what do you call this? Is this a brokerage? I don't know the terminology.
Yeah, the real estate brokerage, yeah.
Started his own brokerage with L2 Land and Property, and all over southeast Kansas and here in Oklahoma, and then still doing like property management, subleasing and stuff through 180. Not as much guided hunts anymore.
Just a handful. It take a few guys that have just been, like you, that you were clients, but you've grown into friends, and you still try to help out and do some of that. But for the most part, we do subleases and then turn around and service those properties. So like properties that we sell and or lease, we're putting in food plots, mowing trails, taking care of feeders. As you can attest, being 12 hours away and trying to take care of all that stuff can be...
It's hard.
It's challenging, and sometimes just to pay someone to do it, it's cheaper.
It actually saves you money. Well, this is a perfect example, because so what's going on here is we had a tractor lined up, but we've already went through this on camera from yesterday, because we got here and the hogs tore stuff up, and then the tractor, we couldn't get it yesterday like we were supposed to, and all that kind of stuff. So Matt's helping us out by letting us use his tractor because we got in a bind, and so like a testament to that, just being able to help people out. And I mean, what would you say in your time doing this? Like, how much growth have you seen in people coming from other places to hunt this area of the country?
It's insane. But I don't know if it's just this part of the country or just the traveling, hunting mantra.
People wanting to hunt different places.
Well, if you look back, like, say, everyone used to complain, like, outdoor television, like Bill Jordan and Michael Waddell and all these guys, that they brought all this attention to these, whole
these areas.
Yeah, that no one knew about. They were fantastic. But I just think back then you filmed a hunt, edited, and a year later it came out.
Yeah.
I mean, with social media right now, we'll film this today and people are going to be watching it when?
Like next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Knowing all of our troubles and good things that happened in northeast Oklahoma, 1 week turnaround. So,
as just a southern guy that grew up hunting in the South my whole life until I got old enough to venture out, like being able to come up here and hunt, it's different, and it's not different. It's different in a very good way. Like when you labor through a 4-month-long season in the South, where you have tons of very low times where the pressure's high and the deer movement's not good and our weather is very erratic, to be able to come up here in the fall when the woods open up and the deer really move around and you can really see rut activity, and hunt some of them with this more open ground where you can see what you're hunting instead of sitting in a thicket in the South for 2 months just thinking, well, he's here, but he could walk any direction and I'll never see him if he doesn't walk right here. You can actually pattern deer easier. I mean, I've learned over the years that it's not easier hunting, and there's not more deer. There's actually probably less deer per acre. It's just they're more visible. They're easier to pattern, and you can see them. I can hunt here, and I can see a fence row or over into another field, and I can figure out how deer are using that area, and I can hone in and hunt those deer at the time when they're actually moving and actually up on their feet. In the South, it's unless you have open land, there is some of that. But people that come, I can just say that people that come up here, I know, because they come up here and they hunt for a week in the Midwest, and they're like, holy crap, this is what hunting could be. I'm coming every year, because you see half the bucks on the property, you can see them, and if the rut's going and the weather's good in 1 week,
Right.
And you spend 4 months just trying to see 1 or 2 of those deer 1 or 2 times when you're hunting, those thick areas in the South. So that's it's easy to see why, like, it's easy for me coming from my background to understand why people flood to this area. And I can tell you that you can come up here, like you see it, you talk to YouTube, the giant deer that people are walking in on public land and finding and killing in 3 days, you gotta be, that's a lottery ticket in the South. There's public land and there's deer, but it ain't. It's fun and we're excited. I mean, we've got a few good deer showing up on camera. Kind of the last thing I wanted to ask you about, before we start working is just a little bit of history about the property, like what kind of deer you've seen in this area since you've been managing around here and stuff.
So this place, you've got these ginormous long oak ridges that run, and I've noticed that at one point we had 3,600 contiguous acres, and it's long, like miles long, and not as many miles wide. So you're able to run like a camera inventory down this long stretch of ground, which gives you a pretty good idea, of how the deer are moving. I found them to be a little more nomadic.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Like I felt like that from one camera I may see multiple deer, and then not as frequent as I would say in a small wood lot or off a small crop field, and just an hour north of here in Kansas. So that was good to know that. Also, I was still able to locate like triangles. Like I got this deer here, here, and here, and put together like a core. Like he's probably, he's living in this space. I'm gonna kill him. It's gonna be in this space right here. As far as size goes, 125 to 150 is a given. There will be a handful of deer to chase every year like that. I have seen 2 different deer, big typical 10 tall brows that I think would go over 160, and another one was just a gnarly points going everywhere.
Who knows what he would score?
Yeah, he definitely in that, once you start adding 3 inches, 5 inches, 10 inches, it all starts to stack up. But you can count on, like, you're going to film some really pretty deer here. It is a step down from Kansas per se, as far as like the quality of deer you might have a chance to kill, but the perks of over-the-counter tags, 2-buck tags, and all the things that come with the conveniences of hunting Oklahoma, they outweigh it.
Well, we got a few deer. We got one that I'm starting to call Chuck, and he's a 7-point, but he's actually a 6-point after I looked at the camera, but he's massive. And I call him Chuck because Chuck Taylor All-Stars, and I think he's an All-Star. Because those are my kind of deer. It's crazy looking.
It's a good thing you explain that because I don't know who Chuck Taylor is. But
Chuck Taylor All-Stars, the tennis shoes. You're from my generation. You remember the Converse?
Okay, now you got me with Converse.
Converse All-Stars, the Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
But no, he's but we've got, there's a couple of nice typical deer, and so we're excited. But we got a lot of cutting to do. So.
I think too, like, as we get into the season, you'll see.
That's the nomadic part.
Deer.
This pond creek that runs through this place, and these long ridges, these deer are going to run them.
Oh yeah.
And deer are going to show up.
I forgot about 2 deer. I need to send you a couple pictures because all the way back on the very top, there's old broken blind up there. Mm-hmm. It's been a couple years, but there was 2 deer running together back there that were both hammers, a 5x5 and another one was like a 4x6. But
well, we got a deer in June. You can't tell what he is, but he looks like he's going to be really big back there. So he's got a bunch of crazy shit and looks like a second main beam. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's
we'll see what he turns
it's good to see you guys.
Yep.
But it's getting hot.
Yep.
I'm going to drop this off with you.
Appreciate it, brother.
You bet.
Thank you, man.
We'll see you.
We're in Arkansas and we're traveling home. Finished the trip up, and we somehow or another, through all of our troubles, we were able to get everything done that we set out to do. but we had to actually finish up this morning. We were supposed to leave early this morning. We had to go finish cutting because we had to work on the tractor, or actually the bush hog. And but we identified a few new spots that really didn't plan on doing going into this trip, but I think they're going to be really awesome. Awesome spots that we're going to get food plots made into. We got a few good deer on camera. We got everything moved around to try to kind of strategically plan around these hogs. And it's really, so the next thing for us to do is to go back and actually plant the food plots, which that'll be in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and move some stands around and get ready for opening day, which for Oklahoma is October the 1st. And in between then, we've got hunts starting up in a week from now with some of the early seasons in September. So we're going to be bouncing in and out trying to get all this done. But if you haven't yet, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel at screegear.com. You can follow along with this blueprint series there, along with some of the other hunts we're doing off of the blueprint series. And by the time you see this, we'll have our winner for the big giveaway that's going to come hunt with us out there this fall. And everything's going pretty well. We're fighting through some adversity, but we're getting it done. We got one more off-season trip, and then hopefully it's all fun and games and hunting some Oklahoma bucks. So we appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned.